Hey guys, it's Adrian over BHA here bringing you another video. So this is the fourth video in the series. Today we're looking at the Floodlight E340 from Eufy. They sent it over to me. This thing looks awesome. Now, one of my favorite products of all time from Eufy has always been their Floodlight cam. I absolutely love it. So I'm super excited to look at this new Floodlight dual cam E340. I think it looks pretty awesome. It sounds really good. We've been pretty pleased with the previous three dual camera products that we've looked at, so this fourth one is really gonna stand out. So without further ado, let's dive right in. All right, so you'll be able to pick this straight up from Eufy's website for about 220 bucks, which really isn't a bad deal, especially when you look at their previous floodlight cams and some of their other products. Not only does it have dual cameras, which is a 3K wide-angle lens, 2K telephoto lens, but it also supports dual-band Wi-Fi 6, which to me makes it that much cooler. So let's get started.
Okay, let's get this thing opened up here. As always, tons of info on the outside of the box. Eufy does a great job with that, explaining the capabilities as well as what comes in the box. But let's get this outer sleeve pulled off here. We're going to get that top open. So you can see the floodlight cam there, but let's open up the box here on the side first. So we got this hook here, which is really cool because it allows you to kind of hang that floodlight cam while you're connecting the wires. It just makes it much easier when you're installing this light by yourself. Let's see, we got a couple of sets of mounting screws, a USB-C cable, which we'll use for that initial setup of the device. We got some instruction manuals and stickers for getting that camera set up. And then, of course, we have the floodlight. Now, this thing is pretty heavy. It's definitely not cheap. This back piece comes off here as kind of the mounting bracket. We can pull these stickers off of the lights here, but that's pretty much everything that comes in the box. Let's go over the main specs for this floodlight cam. So of course we got dual cameras. We got the 3K wide-angle lens, which is a 135-degree field of view, and then the 2K telephoto lens with an 8x hybrid zoom. This floodlight is fully PTZ with a 360-degree coverage area, which is pretty nice. 2,000 lumens on those floodlights, so definitely bright enough for whatever you need. Two-way audio, so using the Eufy app, you can communicate with the person on camera. This supports dual-band Wi-Fi 6, which is pretty awesome as well. Has a micro SD card slot that supports up to 128 gigs for local storage, and of course you will be able to connect this to the Homebase 3 as well to take advantage of storage there. And then lastly, we got full motion detection and smart AI tracking, which makes this thing pretty awesome. That covers the main specs. Let's move on to the next step and get this thing added to the Eufy app. Here we are in the Eufy app on my phone. It's crazy easy to add devices to the Eufy app. They make it very simple. We're going to hit that plus in the top corner there, and then we are looking for floodlight camera. This is the new one, which is the E340, so we will select that here. We can hit next on this screen. So for connectivity, we want to connect to a router. So we will select the top one there, and it wants us to scan the QR code on the back of the floodlight. So we'll scan that here. Now this warning doesn't really matter to us necessarily. We are powering this with that USB cable. And while you are powering it with the USB cable, it does not actually power the light. It only powers the camera. So that's not really an issue for us. I think it's more if you installed the light first before you added it to the Eufy app. It is a very powerful light, so you don't want to look at it up close, especially if you have it on full brightness. So it is telling us to power it on via the USB cable, which we've already done. So we're going to wait for the LED on the front to turn solid blue and no longer blinking. And then we're going to hit next. Now it says to hold the sync button down on the bottom of the camera until we hear it beep and it's flashing blue. Now we are connecting to the camera, so we'll give that a second. As for Wi-Fi setup, we need to add our SSID info here for the Wi-Fi. And remember, this supports 2.4 or 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So I'll put in my Wi-Fi info here. Now we are connecting to the Wi-Fi network. And there it is. Camera is added successfully. We can give it a name here if we want. The closest in the list would be Garage. I'll just pick that for now, but I'll probably give it a different name once we go through the config later on. Now it will walk us through the installation if we needed to. I'm just going to say install later because we're going to do that in the next step. Let's see, it's testing the Wi-Fi signal to make sure that we have a good signal, which we should have a great signal right now since I'm in the middle of my house. I'm going to go ahead and turn on AI tracking because I definitely want to take advantage of that. And for this last part, it looks like it wants to update the firmware. So we'll let that run through and I'll kind of fast forward through that. But at this point, we have the device added to the Eufy app. So we are now ready to move on to the next step and get this thing installed. So getting this thing installed should be pretty easy, especially since I'm replacing a Eufy Floodlight Cam 2 with this new Floodlight E340. The setup is basically the same. I really like how they designed this new one to be mounted on the side of a building or from underneath. Basically, you just kind of readjust the mount to the top if you want to mount it up underneath. But here is the old light here, and you can see the area is going to cover here in my driveway. It should do a pretty good job, especially being fully PTZ. You know, it'll be able to move around and see everything and follow people as they come and go in the driveway. In this clip, I have the old floodlight cam removed, and now we can basically just mount that new one in its place and wire it up the exact same way. Now make sure that you are cutting off your breaker before messing with electrical wiring, just to be safe. And here in this last clip, you can see we have the new floodlight mounted. It's super easy to do. It just kind of clips right in. We are now ready to move on to that next step and go over the config in the app. Here we are in the main screen of the new Floodlight E340. You can see the camera view there. Top is the wide angle, bottom is that telephoto lens. And along the bottom are our various options. So we can record if we want, we can enable sound. In the middle there, we can activate the two-way audio, the way we'll be able to communicate with the person on camera. We can control PTZ and even turn the light on right from here. Now, if we swipe over, there's a few more options. We can take a screenshot. We can modify our night vision settings as well as adjust the AI tracking settings as well. We have the option to tell it to go into patrol, so it'll just kind of move around the area and view everything. And then we can even review recordings that we have saved. And if we swipe over one more time, there's one more option there, which is to calibrate that PTZ. But let's go ahead and go into the settings up in the top corner. So we can turn the camera off altogether if we want there in the corner. Under Edge Connection, this is where we would add it to the Homebase 3 if we want. Light settings, this is where we can enable, disable the floodlight. Also, how we want that floodlight to activate. So I want mine to be motion activated, so at night I would get those recordings in color night vision. It also gives you the ability to adjust the brightness as well. Now, under motion detection, we can set what kinds of motion we want it to detect. So I like the human, vehicle, and pet detection for sure. So that's what I'm going to start with. We can also adjust the sensitivity down there at the bottom. And at the very bottom, you can see, if you haven't already, you can enable AI tracking there as well. Detection range. This is where you can make adjustments to the detection range and even do testing if you want to make sure you're covering the area and getting notifications on that motion for the areas that you want. Under pan and tilt settings, again, we can enable AI tracking. We can calibrate that PTZ if we needed, and we also have the ability to adjust how quickly it moves around for PTZ. Now, under the preset positions, we can create default spots that it will return to after a period of time. You've seen this on some of their other PTZ cameras, and it works pretty well. I want mine to kind of default to that middle there, so I'll make that my preset location. Video settings, we can adjust the night vision. I want it to be full color night vision. We have the ability to remove that watermark if we want to. Or we can even enable continuous recordings if we want. I have mine set to record on events only, and I think that works pretty well. You can also make adjustments to the streaming and recording quality. I'm going to leave mine set to the defaults for that for now. The defaults usually work pretty well. Audio settings, this is where we can disable that microphone if we wanted to, or decide if we want to record audio with our video. So if you feel like you don't need the sound, you can certainly just record the video, and it will save you some storage space. There in the middle, we have the ability to adjust how loud that speaker is as well. Under notification, you can decide which types of notifications you want to receive, as well as how much information you want in the notification. So I like to have mine set to full effect. It gives you plenty of information, and I think it works pretty well. Lastly, under general is where we can go to adjust the name, which I'm going to go ahead and change mine to carport. That's more in line with its location. You can take a look at the storage availability if we wanted to, as well as format that SD card. We can make changes to the Wi-Fi settings if we needed to, and this is also where we will go if we need to update the firmware, which we did that earlier, so we should be pretty good. That's pretty much it for everything that you can do in the Eufy app for this camera. Let's move on to the last step, and I'll show you some clips from the camera, both daytime and nighttime, and I will give you my final thoughts. Let's start by looking at some footage from the camera. So this first clip here is black and white and night vision, and I think the quality looks really good. You can see it tracking me a little bit there. Now in this second clip, it's actually tracking a dog in the neighborhood, the one that kind of runs around. And you can see it's color night vision, so I think it looks pretty awesome. It's a nice clip there as well. And this last clip shows some tracking during the daytime. You know, that 3K wide angle lens looks great, and you can see it tracking there as well, and it does a very nice job as well. I'm not gonna lie, I really like their floodlight cams. I mean, $220 for a dual camera floodlight to me is a pretty sweet deal. You get that 3K wide angle lens, and then the 2K telephoto lens as well for zooming in is pretty awesome. You mix that all in with the 2000 lumen floodlight, and you have a pretty nice setup. Add all that in with the Eufy ecosystem, and this thing hits all the main points. As always, I'll have a link in the description below to Eufy's website. If you aren't interested in this particular camera, head over there, see what else they have to offer. I guarantee you will find something that you do like. And remember, this is the 4th video in the series. Obviously, we had 3 videos before this, all different brand new dual cameras offered from Eufy. You're going to want to check all those out. I'll have a link to all those in the description below, so you'll definitely want to check those out if you haven't already.
As always, I want to thank everybody for donating to my Buy Me a Coffee link. Every little bit helps. If you haven't had a chance, head over to my spring merchandise page and check out all the Burns home automation merchandise. And if you're looking for the latest smart home gear, you're going to want to check out Smonet. I'll have a link in the description below. Head over there and see what deals they currently have running. And if you're looking for the latest smart window treatment, you're going to want to check out Smartwings. I'll have a link in the description below for them as well. Head over there and see what deals they currently have running. If you're interested in buying and selling stock or maybe cryptocurrency, you're going to want to check out Robinhood. I'll have a link in the description below for that as well. If you sign up with that link, you and I both will get a free share of stock. It's a win-win for both of us. If you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comments below. As always, if there are any videos out there that you would like to see that I don't already have out there, let me know in the comments as well, and I'll see if I can't get something put together for you guys. Otherwise, see you guys around.